Imagine always being within reach, always available, always responding immediately. At first, it might feel like love, dedication, or loyalty. But over time, something shifts. The people around you start to expect your presence rather than appreciate it. They grow accustomed to your constant availability, and what was once special begins to feel ordinary. The truth is, absence creates value. When you step back, even just a little, you create space for others to reflect on what your presence truly means. People don't miss what is always there. They miss what they once had and no longer do. When you remove yourself from the center of someone's life, even momentarily, it forces them to see what they might be taking for granted. It's not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about restoring balance. If you've ever noticed how silence after a beautiful song makes you appreciate the melody even more, then you understand how powerful space can be. It allows emotions to settle, perspectives to shift, and appreciation to grow. When you are constantly in someone's orbit, they never have the opportunity to experience life without you. They don't get the chance to wonder how things would feel in your absence. And sometimes that moment of realization is exactly what transforms a relationship. They begin to see your value, not because you forced them to, but because they had a moment to feel the contrast. This doesn't mean you should withdraw in fear or play hard to get. It means recognizing that your presence is a gift. And gifts are meant to be cherished, not expected. When you step back, you also gain clarity. You begin to see who reaches for you, who notices your absence, and who only responded out of convenience rather than true connection. And here's where the real shift happens. You no longer give from a place of seeking validation. Instead, you give from a place of abundance, knowing that your presence is not an obligation but a choice. When people miss you, they don't just miss your physical presence, they miss your energy, your kindness, your essence. They begin to realize that what you bring into their life is not replaceable. Everything in life is energy, and energy flows where attention goes. When you constantly focus on someone, whether it's a friend, a partner, or even a situation you are directing your energy outward, often without realizing how much of yourself you are giving away. The more you chase, the more you push things away, because energetically you are signaling that you are lacking something. You are placing all your attention outside of yourself instead of within. And that is where the imbalance begins. Have you ever noticed that when you stop obsessing over something, it seems to resolve itself? Or when you finally let go of needing a response from someone, they suddenly reach out? This is not coincidence. It's alignment. When you shift your focus back to yourself, you reclaim your energy. You stop looking for external validation and instead cultivate a deep sense of wholeness. And something incredible happens. People start to feel the difference. They notice your energy has changed. You are no longer waiting, seeking, or clinging. You have become centered, fulfilled, and magnetic. Teaches that where you place your attention is where you place your energy. If you keep directing all your thoughts toward another person, you are, in a way, giving them control over your emotional state. But when you redirect that focus inward, toward your own growth, joy, and expansion, you shift your entire reality. You stop feeling desperate for a connection and instead become someone who is naturally attracting meaningful relationships. People respond not just to your words or actions, but to your energy. If your energy is rooted in need, they will subconsciously feel pressured. But if your energy is grounded in self-love and purpose, they will be drawn in effortlessly. This is why stepping back and focusing on yourself doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how others see you. So rather than pouring all your attention into others, start pouring it into yourself. Instead of overthinking whether someone notices you, notice yourself first. Instead of wondering if someone values you, Start valuing yourself at the highest level. That shift in attention is what changes everything. It's not about forcing people to miss you. It's about becoming so complete within yourself that your presence becomes something they don't want to be without. There is something undeniably attractive about a person who is at peace with themselves. Someone who is not desperate for attention or validation, but simply exists in their own energy, confident and whole. When you stop seeking approval, stop chasing, and instead allow space for things to flow naturally, you become magnetic. People are drawn to those who are not grasping for them because at a fundamental level, we all crave freedom. And nothing repels more than the feeling of being pursued out of need rather than genuine connection. Detachment is not about indifference or not caring. It is about releasing the need to control how others respond to you. When you hold on to something too tightly, it creates resistance. But when you let go, when you trust that what is meant for you will find its way, you allow room for things to align effortlessly. This is why the moment you stop fixating on a particular person or outcome, you often find that things shift. It's not because you stopped wanting it, it's because you stopped needing it. That energy of neediness, of seeking validation, was creating a barrier, and once that barrier is removed, space opens for real connection to happen. Think about how we value things that are rare or difficult to obtain. The same principle applies to human nature. What is always readily available is often taken for granted, while what is scarce is appreciated more. It's not manipulation. It's simply understanding the balance of energy. By making yourself less accessible, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, you change the way people experience you. They begin to feel your absence, to wonder about you, to appreciate what they may have overlooked before. And the most powerful part, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. By letting go of attachment, you free yourself from the emotional ups and downs of external validation. You step into a place of security, of knowing that you are enough as you are. And from that space, the right people will gravitate toward you, not because you chased them, but because your energy became irresistible. When you no longer hold on to people out of fear, they naturally find their way to you. When you take a step back from constantly giving your energy to others, you create the perfect opportunity to pour that energy into yourself. Instead of waiting for someone to notice your absence, use that time to grow, to evolve, to become more of who you truly are. The most powerful transformation doesn't happen when you try to change others. It happens when you change yourself. And when you do, the way people respond to you shifts naturally. Self-growth is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. When you invest in your mind, your well-being, and your purpose, you elevate your energy. And people don't just see this, they feel it. They sense that something is different about you, even if they can't quite explain it. You are no longer seeking validation from them because you have already given it to yourself. You are no longer waiting to be chosen because you have already chosen yourself. That kind of energy is magnetic. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you stop chasing love, attention, or approval. Instead, you attract people who are drawn to your growth, your confidence, your light. You start to notice that the people who were once indifferent to your presence begin to see you differently, not because you forced them to, but because you became someone they don't want to lose. And those who don't recognize your value, they naturally fade away, making room for those who do. Growth doesn't just change your relationships, it changes how you show up in every area of life. When you expand your mind, when you work on your inner peace, when you cultivate joy within yourself, you radiate a different kind of energy. You become someone who doesn't need to convince others to appreciate you because your presence speaks for itself. You become the person who walks into a room and is noticed, not because you demanded attention, but because your energy is undeniable. So use the space you create not to wait for someone else, but to build yourself. Read, learn, meditate, create. Heal the parts of yourself that need love. Step into the highest version of who you are meant to be. And as you do, you will see that the people meant for you will naturally align with you, not because you chase them, but because you grew into someone they never want to be without. Not everything in life is meant to be forced. The more you try to hold on to something that isn't naturally aligning, the more resistance you create. When you step back and allow space for things to unfold, you give life the chance to work in your favor. People who are meant to be in your life will always find a way, and those who are not will naturally drift away. This isn't rejection, it's alignment. So often we cling to relationships, friendships, or situations out of fear. Fear of loss, fear of being alone, fear of the unknown. But when you trust that what is meant for you will always come back, you free yourself from the exhaustion of chasing. The truth is, when something is right, it doesn't need to be forced. It flows. And when you let go of the need to control every outcome, you create space for the right connections to reveal themselves. Think about the relationships in your life. When you pull back slightly, who reaches out? Who notices your absence? Who genuinely wants to stay connected versus who only responds when it's convenient? Sometimes, stepping back is the only way to see things clearly. It allows you to separate those who were truly meant for you from those who were only there because you were always the one holding things together. Letting things align naturally doesn't mean you don't care. It means you respect the natural flow of life. The universe operates on balance. The more you force something, the more resistance it creates. But when you surrender to the idea that the right people will always find their way to you, you step into a place of peace. You no longer have to chase, beg, or convince. You simply become. And those who resonate with your energy will. This is why space is so powerful. When you step back, you're not just giving others the opportunity to miss you, you're giving yourself the opportunity to see who truly values you. And once you recognize that alignment is more important than attachment, everything changes. The connections that remain will be stronger, more authentic, and based on mutual appreciation, not obligation. And that is where true fulfillment begins. Joy is the most attractive energy you can embody. When you are genuinely happy within yourself, when you are fulfilled without needing anything external to complete you, people feel that. They sense your wholeness, your lightness, your peace. And that energy is irresistible. You are no longer looking outside of yourself for happiness because you have already found it within. Instead of seeking validation, you radiate confidence. Instead of waiting to be chosen, you choose yourself. And that shift changes everything. So many people go through life thinking they need someone or something outside of them to feel complete. They believe that if a certain person misses them, notices them, or appreciates them, then they will finally feel worthy. But that thinking keeps you trapped. It keeps you in a cycle of seeking instead of being. The truth is, the moment you stop looking for someone else to fill the space within you and start filling it yourself, you become the most magnetic version of yourself. When you live in gratitude, when you embody the emotions of joy and abundance before external circumstances reflect them, you shift your entire reality. You stop attracting people from a place of lack and start attracting from a place of wholeness. You stop needing love and instead become love. And when you reach that state, everything around you begins to change. The people in your life sense the difference. They feel the ease in your presence, the peace in your energy, the joy in your being. When you are full within yourself, you are no longer afraid of loss. You do not need to cling to prove your worth or to chase love. You simply exist in a way that makes people want to be around you, not because you demand their attention, but because your presence brings something rare: lightness, authenticity, and joy. And when someone does miss you, it's not just because of what you did for them or what you provided, it's because of how your energy made them feel. So instead of waiting for others to appreciate you, appreciate yourself first. Instead of hoping someone sees your worth, embody it so fully that it becomes undeniable. Be so full of joy, so complete within yourself, that your presence is felt even in your absence. And in that state, you will see that everything changes.